Chapter 11, Helen Keller. Let us begin. And tomorrow is your birthday, Samira, isn't it? Samira, yes, it is. How did you know? And I saw your date of birth in the class register. Samira, I'm throwing a party. You are also invited. Please come at 5 o'clock. I shall wait for you. And are Jack and Jill, your new neighbors, coming too? Samira, yes, they are. And they are English, aren't they? Samira, no, they are French, and you spell their names as Jack and Gil. And do they speak English? Samira, yes, they do. They have lived in America for a long time. And come in, let us get into our class, let us read. Helen became blind when she was just a year and a half. She had an attack of fever which affected her brain. After a week or so, the disease left her, but she could neither see, nor speak, nor hear. Her mother took her to a doctor who told her that she would never be able to see, but soon a miracle took place. It made Helen not only speak and hear, but also see beyond darkness. You might think a doctor did it. That is how it happened. There was a school in Boston. It was called the Perkins Institute for the Blind. Helen's mother came to know of it. She was sure it could help her daughter to speak and hear. She referred the problem to the director of the institute. He recommended a tutor named Anne. She was a graduate of the institute. Anne found it quite a job to teach Helen, since the girl would cry and kick. But Anne did not lose patience. Helen had to be told that everything had a name. Anne put a doll in her hand. On the other hand, she spelt the word doll in printed symbols, a sign language for the blind. We call it Braille. It is a special language named after a blind Frenchman, Louis Braille. He invented this system in 1834. The letters are marked by raised dots on thick paper. Blind people feel these dots with their fingertips. Each letter in this system is built up of one or more raised dots, which are placed in as many as 63 positions. Of these, 26 are for the English alphabet and 37 for punctuation and figures. The letters are written by means of a machine called the Braille writer. Many books are now available in Braille. Helen felt very much excited to find that every word spelt on her hand pointed out a thing. As time passed, she came to understand a good many words. It is interesting to learn the way Anne taught her to speak. She would speak a sound and ask Helen to pass her fingers over her tongue and throat as she spoke. After constant practice, she was able to speak all the letters of the alphabet. Within a short period, she could speak English, German, and French. She could now hear as well as speak. At the age of 20, she joined Radcliffe College. Books were printed in Braille for her. She passed her BA with honors in English. While she was a student at Radcliffe, she wrote her autobiography. She also wrote beautiful English poems. She made some money from her writings and settled down at a farm in Massachusetts, where she lived with Anne, who was her guardian. It was here that Anne was married to a young man named John Macy, who was an instructor at Radcliffe. It was a delightful company, but soon the marriage broke up. It was here again that another young man proposed to her, but would not undertake the responsibilities that go with marriage. People who heard about her or read her articles had an ardent desire to see her. She was invited by various societies interested in the education of the blind. Huge crowds come to see her. She made her first public speech in 19th. Very soon Helen was known all the world over as a genius. She was booked for a film on her life, but the venture did not succeed. One evening she found that Anne too had gone blind. A girl named Polly Thompson came to join them and help the blind pair. Helen had to work very hard to support herself and her companion. Some of her friends came to her help. She had a number of them. Alexander Graham Bell, the famous inventor of telephone, was very kind to her. Then there were men like H. Rogers, Andrew Carnegie, and Mark Twain, who helped her with money and gifts. This made it possible for her to visit a good many countries. The saddest day in Helen's life was when her teacher Anne died. It was she who had led her into a new world. She had shared with her all the miseries of life. What was Helen without her? It was she who had given her a vision. The Second World War broke out in 1939. Helen was pained to find that a great many soldiers had been blinded. She gave them hope and courage. She worked tirelessly for those who could not see. After the war was over, she visited many countries. She was now old and she thought it fit to help people all over the world by becoming their pillar of strength. She died in the year 1969. Let us recite the pencil story. I am a little pencil and my name is H and B. I lie on the mantelpiece for everyone to see. I'm handled 40 times a day. It is a weary life. And when my wits are rather dull, I'm sharpened with a knife. I scrawl when Tommy has me, and I draw all sorts of things, from submarines and aeroplanes to cabbages and kings. I write a lovely letter when Miss Phyllis is about, and if by chance I make mistakes, Miss Phyllis rubs them out, and if I slip and tumble down, I am certain to be missed, for Mother wants me badly when she does the washing list, and Father makes me keep the score when he begins to play. I'm just a little pencil, but I have a busy day. I really never am allowed to grow up as I ought. I'm getting shorter every day. It's awful to be short. And when the knife begins on me, I ache in every joint. I put it that way because you're sure